did. I'll talk at you then. You're an embarrassment. That's what I'm telling you. What a disgrace to the country. What a disgrace to civilization. We live in the world where we have every opportunity. Like, people can be looked after. We have everything. And you're here doing this, and you can't even dignify it. Yeah, look at my face. Remember me. Think about me when you go to sleep. I'm quite handsome.
Remember me when you go to sleep. Think about me. I'm quite handsome. And then walks off. He's just berated this woman for like a minute and a half. Almost 2 minutes. And then he's like, hey, don't you think I'm handsome? Think about me.
I'm a neo-reactionary absolutist. I believe in a absolute world order, organized in a particular way.
When you're looking at a government is a corporation that owns a country. It just is. It's the same thing.
I'm Peter Thiel. I support people who are building new things. I'm not a politician, but neither is Donald Trump. And it's time to rebuild America.
Anything we can do to help this go along, and we're going to be there for you. And you'll call my people, you'll call me. It doesn't make any difference. We have no formal chain of command.
Today we're going to review a channel called Actual Coverage. It's run by a guy called Suraj. Here he is here with his anti-Semitic Star of David.
I need to put I'm gonna put a Portuguese song on. They're gonna laugh.
He likes to hang around outside that shop after protests and hang around with his mate there, who's also a live streamer. Much like Resistance GB and Subject Access, he also came out of nowhere at the exact same time around a year ago. Also there, along with Subject Access, Rupley and others, to film William Coleshill at his first performance at Speaker's Corner. We're going to go through this video in another episode and check out everybody who's there, because like, I practically know pretty much everybody on Speaker's Corner at the moment, including this woman here, who was front and centre of the photographers at the silent vigil. So how did all these people get tipped off about these unknown characters going to Speaker's Corner for the first time ever? Because nobody at Speaker's Corner knew these guys before they arrived. So it just doesn't make sense. Actual Coverage, although he's not white, like William Coleshill, he's not allergic to racists. Actual Interview, real name Suraj, has a load of mods that do his video titles, his live stream titles, and this is a message that he released after this particular video. So his mods named it Bacon Emoji, Bacon Live, Post, Referendum, Meal, Please Subscribe. And Suraj, the guy who owns the channel, just completely minimizes and blows it off. It's like, question mark, I had to change the title to this, Champagne Celebration after the flagship Khalistan referendum. You nutters. He's basically turned racist bigots into nutters. Like, you are the unsung heroes of the streaming world. Dude, just call out the racists in your movement. But he won't, because Piers Corbyn also doesn't care. As you can see,
the interviews and the people asking questions, because they were all of them questions that are designed to make trouble. No, these were sensible questions from Jay. Have a good ongoing program to everyone else as well. Okay, all the best. You take care.
Thank you, Piers. Have a wonderful evening.
Resist, defy, do not comply. That's my message.
Goodbye, my friend.
Goodbye, my friend. So it's no surprise to see him also interviewing...
If they want to escape their refugee camps, they have to go kill an Israeli, and then they get money for the rest of their life for their families. I want to free them from all of that. I think there's wrongs happening on every side, yeah? It's a war. You're not going to get a war without wrongs happening. But we have a terrorist organisation who's attacking innocent people, aiming indiscriminately at innocent people. If Israel wanted to, they would wipe every person off the map tomorrow if they wanted to. They don't.
So that's Tommy Robinson at a Israel protest. Actual Interview is definitely in with Piers Corbyn to the point where it's as if he can't get out. Experienced anti-fascists will know who that woman is. Experienced anti-fascists should also recognise that voice in the background. There's Subject Access and this guy here. This is what these guys are about, and the fact that they've been ignored for so long is really, really eye-opening, really. Tyrant Finder as well. So you can see that this walking CCTVs, one didn't start and the others followed. It's like these three walking CCTVs were William Coleshill, Sam English from Subject Access, and Suraj from Actual Coverage. They all must have known each other. They're all in on this scam from the start, and there's no kind of grassroots, oh, we've just met, I think you'd be really good at this, or I've seen you doing this, I'm gonna come and carry on. These three took control of it and ran with it to the point where then others saw them getting all this attention. Oh, look at this, a bassist. Oh, this guy, he's got loads of football friends. Oh, and this guy, he goes around carrying a knife. They're targeting different sections of society each, where they can all come together as their like little collective of friends and network, and all those people who have during the pandemic not been able to go out, not been able to socialize, and they're desperate in need for attention. Narcissists, they've got nowhere else to go but to this community of narcissists that seem to be acting and doing things that they like, and they're attracted to the chaos. It's basically just a toxic pipeline of narcissism. You can see here that back for the silent vigil, Based Welshman is manipulating Actual Interview in his chat. When I released this footage on Twitter, he was actually one of the few that tried to defend himself. I asked him about the way that his friend Hugh Thorne, Based Welshman, treated me in Nottingham when I was trying to cover protests in the same way that Suraj, Actual Coverage, does.
Listener! Get the fucking go. Listener! I'm not. Listener! See you later. Listener! You're a bit up north. You're a bit up north and you listen. You're a bit up north and you listen. You're a bit up north and you listen. Leave him. You're a bit up north and you...
Try and see that phone.
Don't, because you're going to go in trouble, alright?
No.
And he says, I watched the video. It looks like you got caught in headlights and tried to get the hell out of there. What do you expect when you do what you do, other than people approaching you? Also, I don't care. As I said, come say hello. I'm not exactly hiding. Again, I spent 2 years, almost, not filming anything. And if I did film, I would film these people's figureheads. I wouldn't be filming people who are just like normal protesters. I don't throw insults. I just take them on the chin and ignore them. So I've done nothing to deserve that abuse from protesters that I was filming. And here he is defending it. So treat others how they wish to be treated. If he doesn't mind physical abuse, then he's basically asking for it. Like, I'm not encouraging anyone to go and attack him or assault him. Absolutely not. But I treat others how they wish to be treated. And I don't wish to be assaulted. So I don't go around assaulting people. And I don't go around defending people who do go around assaulting people. Because if I did, that just attracts the attention. Oh, that's how he likes to treat others. So then people will treat me that way. Here he is with Piers Corbyn at the silent vigil, being encouraged to go out and speak to people who are grieving. Suraj, to be fair to him, says, I don't want to do that because it doesn't seem appropriate, but because Piers suggested that to him, all it took was that suggestion in his head for him to go off and do it.
I haven't interviewed anyone as yet. I mean, people are.
Just you've been silent.
They are quite somber.
Yeah.
I don't really want to intrude, but I think there are.
I think that's right.
I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it.
Rosie anyway, is he?
He went round the corner looking for you. But this
We'll
is...
walk round and come back and see you then.
No. Hello guys, would you like to say a few words on my channel? Yeah, good? Thank you.
Rejected.
Nobody wants to talk to me. Not these guys. Not these females.
No.
Hello, hi. Would you like to say a few words on my channel?
I heard you from... Yeah, thank you.
Okay, no worries.
Thank
Well, it's not like the other protests I've been to. People are there for a reason. Yeah.
They are there for they're there to grieve. It annoys me. It shouldn't annoy me because I should be zen and calm. But I mean, it's frustrating that people just don't understand other people's emotions, and if they do, they don't care. The biggest gripe that I have with the silent vigil is that, like, men were there in the first place. I knew that far-right people would go there, but I figured that me going as well is just going to attract attention to the fact that there's loads of single guys there all going to, like, protect the women, or, like, assuming that a big collection, like hundreds of women on a park, can't defend themselves. They're not going to be like attacked by hundreds of men if there's one guy going there with the intention of doing something like fucking weird. There's hundreds of women there to protect each other. There should have been no men there unless they were invited to go with their girlfriends or friends or whatever. But, like, guys on their own, like these people, like, what the hell do they think they're doing? It's not your place. They were told that multiple times, and never did one of them recognize, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be here. Just take a look at the way that Suraj speaks to women. Like, I've never seen him speak to a male police officer this in such a toxic way.
Would you arrest your own family members if they broke the law? Would you arrest your mum? Do you can't even, why is that? It's a very simple question. If they broke the law, would you arrest them? If your brother or sister killed someone, would you arrest them? I would, if I was a police officer. So if any of your family members broke the law, would you arrest them?
No comment.
No comment. You have no pride in your job. Waste of space. You should resign. Pathetic. No, that is my opinion, I'm telling you. Pathetic. Your parents should be ashamed of you. Your family should be ashamed of you. Yeah, good. What embarrassing. And things we pay for you. We pay for your salary and your pension.
So, let me get this straight. He asked the question, if your brother murdered someone, would you arrest them? And she refused to answer because he's just a toxic dickhead. Like, who cares what he thinks? And he says, you should be ashamed of yourself for refusing to engage with this toxic dickhead, basically. And then he said, your family should be ashamed of you. It's like, hold on, you're expecting her to be not answering this question because she's going to defend her brother. And then the next sentence, you're telling her that her brother's going to be ashamed of her for protecting him when he's a criminal. It's like, fuck, like, what kind of logic is this? Like, it just beggars belief. But let's carry on because it gets worse.
Everything. Pays for all the donuts and everything else you eat. Absolutely disgusting. You can't even, like, give me a dignity of a response. It's real simple. If my brother killed someone and I'm a police officer, I'll arrest him because no one should ever kill anybody. And all I ask you is, if your family members committed a crime, would you arrest them? No comment. Pathetic. Are you a sergeant? You're a sergeant. That's an embarrassment. Well, yeah, I'm talking at you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking at you. You don't talk to me. You can keep your mouth shut. You can keep your mouth shut. I'm talking at you. Or you can go away.
So now he's saying he doesn't even want a response from her. He's just talking at her and that she can go away. It's like, dude, like, have you ever had a conversation with a woman before? But it gets better.
Sorry, I did. I'll talk at you then. You're an embarrassment. That's what I'm telling you. What a disgrace to the country. What a disgrace to civilization. We live in the world where we have every opportunity. Like, people can be looked after. We have everything. And you're here doing this, and you can't even dignify it. Yeah, remember me. Remember me. Think about me when you go to sleep. I'm quite handsome.
Remember me when you go to sleep. Think about me. I'm quite handsome. And then walks off. He's just berated this woman for like a minute and a half. Almost 2 minutes. And then he's like, hey, don't you think I'm handsome? Think about me. Like, I need to stay calm. The last videos, like at the vigil, kind of annoyed me, but like this is so bizarre. I can't help but like laugh at the just craziness of it. It's just nuts. It's nuts. So his abusive behavior towards police or women escalates outwards.
Right there,
He's loving this toxicity right here. Sorry about the quality, but I'm not going back to his channel to find this specific event. But like, these types of abusive people, whether they're towards police officers, whether they're towards doctors, nurses, teachers, it doesn't matter your profession. It just matters about the chaos. So people who are defending these people because it's like, oh, ACAB. It's like, yeah, these people are also going after teachers and nurses and doctors. Are you also ANAB? Are you also ATAB? Like, it doesn't matter. These police officers are fucking human and they're being targeted by Nazis. Like, all cops are bastards until they're not. Like George Floyd, in the George Floyd case, he had police officers speaking out against the officer who killed him, who was on his neck.
When Mr. Floyd was no longer offering up any resistance to the officers, they could have ended their restraint.
Once there was no longer any resistance, and clearly when Mr. Floyd was no longer responsive and even motionless, to continue to apply that level of force to a person proned out, handcuffed behind their back, that in no way, shape, or form is anything that is by policy, it is not part of our training, and it is certainly not part of our ethics or our values.
You had police officers doing that. So, to me, yeah, it's a choice to be a police officer. But there are lots of good police officers. Imagine we disbanded the police. What kind of confidence in vulnerable old people, afraid of leaving their house because they might get robbed, what kind of confidence does that give them, just like removing the police? Like, I'm all for reforming the police and defunding the police, but to just do away with them, if you did that, especially while we have a Tory government, especially while we have Boris Johnson in government, you're just handing him a load of power for an actual fascist to restructure the police in his own image. So how about we sort out the fascists in Parliament first, and then we sort out the fascists in our other departments? We've really got to go to the top of the hierarchy. And even then, Parliament are just the puppets for the billionaires. You can't start at the police system here when the police system is just a flying monkey of the whole system. You remove the police, and then the bigger psychopath ahead of him, the government, would then just install another worse flying monkey in charge of the police or organizational structure. The only way of fixing anything at the moment is being anti-fascist, getting the fascists out of our government and turning it into a proper democracy. There's no other way. And the more people are talking about their fucking rent or their racist bigots online or the environment, the more we talk about these issues that divide us, the longer the toxicity from government above those issues continues. We're just distracting each other. We're just dividing ourselves up into all these different issues where the only issue that matters, where we have the ability to change things, is if we come together and remove the toxicity from Parliament. Actual Coverage was also involved in the Million Mass March, which was overrun by these anti-lockdown protests. I don't think that there was any anonymous people there. But here he is,
You fucking idiot! You fucking idiot!
getting caught up in the riot and crying like a baby about it. It's like, dude, you're quite happy to destroy police's equipment and like barrage them, but as soon as he gets a bit of like argy-bargy, he's like, oh fucking hell, my phone, you broke my phone, you dropped my phone. Like, grow up, dude. You've gone to a riot. And in that moment, he's got like, just like the fireworks that we just saw in the previous video, they're trying to make an arrest under fire from rockets, like firework rockets. It's just nuts. Like, fireworks to the face. It's like, what do you expect? Police are going to fight back. This was all obviously endorsed by Piers Corbyn, who it's like, hey, watch me breathe fire from my mouth and I'll watch you throw fire from your hands. And so Suraj has been with Piers Corbyn, like I say, from November. He constantly talks about how he doesn't have like many friends left, or his friendship group is kind of non-existent. And if you'd have told him like a year ago that he would be spending New Year's Eve and most of his time with Piers Corbyn, he would have laughed in your face. But here he is, getting the exclusive footage of a shocking New Year's Eve announcement where Piers Corbyn is intending to stand for Mayor of London, basically the controlled opposition candidate that helps to drag the other Tory and far-right parties to the right. So Actual Coverage is also in the band Jam for Freedom, which is kind of like Piers Corbyn's marching band. We're going to go into them in a future video. This is him here today in Cardiff with the rest of his band members. They had a big rally there. And I say big rally, there was probably a few hundred. It was probably a similar amount to the Million Mass March, which was a few hundred people. Here he is outside Westminster, again with Jam for Freedom. Like I say, he's completely in this cult. And it's no surprise that Jam for Freedom is endorsed by Steve Bannon.
I'm a neo-reactionary absolutist. I believe in a absolute world order, organized a particular way.
When you're looking at a government is a corporation that owns a country. It just is. It's the same thing.
I'm Peter Thiel. I support people who are building new things. I'm not a politician, but neither is Donald Trump. And it's time to rebuild America.
Anything we can do to help this go along, and we're going to be there for you. And you'll call my people, you'll call me. It doesn't make any difference. We have no formal chain of command.
Universal language.
Song will travel very, very far.
Because
sometimes if you do journalism, it's not going very well. It's like bashing your head against the brick wall. It's not very enjoyable.
No, I agree completely. Because like, if you trick people, not trick people. I'm
No,
saying
but
it's a joke. But if someone hears this song, they go, "Oh, this is really nice. I really like it. It's a good song." And then they pay attention to the lyrics, and they go, "Hold on a second. I don't agree with this." But I did like what this person, this human being was doing.
Yeah.
And I like it, and I can tell I can connect. Maybe I should listen to what they say.
Yeah,
That's the
also
power
really
of
good
my art.
musicians. Like